This case involved a left-turning vehicle at a controlled intersection. The vehicle turned left and ultimately impacted a pedestrian that was crossing the road. First, we want to analyze the crash and figure out what actually happened. We also wanted to know, did the driver have a green light to make that left turn? Did the pedestrian have a walk signal? Were there any visibility obstructions for the driver to see the pedestrian, or for the pedestrian to see the driver? So we received typical documents for an investigative file. We received the police documentation of the accident scene, their documentation of the evidence. They took photos at the scene. They actually took drone photos, which was helpful. And then they also provided video footage from 2 cameras near the accident. That video footage didn't capture the actual impact. One camera captured the left-turning vehicle before the impact, and another camera captured that left-turning vehicle after the impact. In a lot of reconstruction cases, I'll look to see if there was any event data recorder data. The vehicle is supported, in other words, it will record data if the accelerations to the vehicle are high enough, but because this is a fairly big vehicle and it's a fairly small pedestrian, it actually didn't meet that threshold. So even though it had the capability to record an event and speeds, it didn't. So the evidence that we had was somewhat limited, which made this case pretty unique. Went out to the site, documented the site with ground level photographs, with drone photographs. Also took our 3D laser scanner out there, which takes millions of measurement points of the scene. A scale model is what I'm creating. So I'm really just documenting the scene, taking all the measurements that I know I'm going to need in the future. There's 2 components to a video analysis. One is the spatial component, which is figuring out where objects are within that scene, and there's a temporal or time-based component to that as well. So for that, what I have to do is I have to figure out when the 2 frames of video were captured relative to each other. So what I'm looking for is between 2 frames, I'm looking for the distance that a vehicle traveled, and then the time between those 2 frames will give me the average speed of that vehicle between those 2 frames. Once I had the speed and the timing of the vehicle and the pedestrian, I actually went back out to the scene, closed down the scene to traffic, and did a surrogate study. I had a pedestrian that was about the similar height and weight to the subject pedestrian, and I had her stand at specific measured positions on the crosswalk through time, and then I had the subject vehicle out at the scene as well. And I was able to then put the subject vehicle in a synchronized position. So I was able to get a snapshot of the position of both parties through time. So I was able to walk that through from 6 seconds before the impact, 5 seconds before the impact, 4, 3, and 2 seconds, ultimately 1 second before the impact, and show that throughout that entire time, the A-pillar was not an obstruction. I wanted to be able to communicate my findings to a jury. We created a top-down animation that shows the timing of the left-turning vehicle and the pedestrian, and our team also created a driver's view animation that shows what the driver of the left-turning vehicle could have seen through time, and it shows that he could have seen the pedestrian crossing all the way up until impact.